And we've said this in previous podcasts, is anytime there's anything that's good, wholesome, good report, and we did in the podcast last week, people are always going to want to tear it down because it makes them feel uncomfortable. You cannot have good and evil in the same place. One has got to recede. And you've got to push one of the two of them out. If that evil, if that satanic feeling is in your heart, and he's going to try to make sure that anything that's good there gets pushed out and you reject it. And that's exactly what's happened with all these leftists online that are saying that they approve of his assassination. They're happy with it. And you're seeing it all over social media. And it's getting more and more boldened because they're seeing others stand up and say, hey, we don't approve of this. One of the funniest things I actually saw today is my wife sent me a little Instagram message this morning of the two guys in Michigan that tried to print off a big poster of Charlie Kirk because they're having a vigil later that evening. And so they went to Office Depot, and some Office Depot there in Detroit, Michigan, and tried to get it printed off. Just big one. And they paid for it, so they had the receipt, they had everything, and then the lady there said, no, we don't print propaganda. We're not going to do it. And so they pulled out their cell phones and started recording the whole thing, and she literally says, no, we don't do anything propaganda. And they're like, well, how is this propaganda? He says, well, he's a political figure. It's propaganda. I'm not going to explain myself anymore. We're not going to do it. And there was a coworker of his you could tell was a little flamboyant, and you could tell they're both very, very, very lefty. Probably a little in the trans community a little bit, but just unabashedly saying, no, we are not supporting Charlie Kirk. We are not printing this thing out for you guys. That little clip just from this morning, because it happened this morning, went viral. So it had hundreds of thousands of views very, very quickly. And by the time I was reading the first message on Instagram that my wife had shared with me, I get Fox News updates, and I started getting a ping on my Fox News. I clicked over to that one, and Fox News was already coming out with a story that Office Depot, I think it was Office Depot, fired him. Said this is not appropriate for our employees. They're no longer with the company.